In this episode, we're taking a look at string bending technique. Hello and welcome to Tuts, the show where we explore guitar playing and music theory to take our playing to the next level. I'm your host, Ray George. String bending is, I think, one of the many techniques that can be applied to the guitar that really sets it apart from many other instruments. It can also be used in quite a few different ways, which makes it an incredibly expressive technique. It does, however, require a bit of practice to perform string bends as they're intended and avoid kind of pitchy or out of tune notes. Before we go any further, for those of you who are completely new to this, a string bend is when, while sustaining a note, you push the string vertically up or down across the fretboard. This will of course increase the tension on the string and therefore raise the pitch of the note that you're holding. So the further that you push or bend the string, the higher in pitch that the note will be. There are a few different types of bends to be aware of. What I just described is just called a bend up. As well as that, we have a let down, which is when, while sustaining a previously bent note, it is then let down again while still sustaining the sound. A pre-bend is basically when a note is bent up to the required pitch before the note is struck, so that only the let down is heard. And then a cut-off, which is basically a bend up, but then as soon as the destination note has been reached, the note is muted by the picking hand. These bending techniques are of course more suited to the electric guitar since they tend to have lighter gauge strings, but it can be used to some extent on the lighter strings of an acoustic. So the first tip I have is don't worry about breaking strings. A lot of people, especially when learning the technique, get scared that the string will break since it can be quite difficult, and then as you push the tension increases and it gets even harder. But trust me, it's not going to break. It's far more likely that your fingers are going to get sore first. In fact, your fingers will get sore and even blistered if you practice bending for an extended period of time. It takes quite a lot of bending to actually break a string, unless they're old strings, and anyway, it's not a big deal. It'll just break, it won't do anything to you or the guitar, and then you just put a new one on. It's no big deal. If you do, however, find that a string is breaking quite often, it might be a problem with the guitar that you need to get checked out. There was one guitar that I had a while which had a problem on the bridge, and it caused one particular string to snap all the time. After sanding that part of the bridge down, it was fine again. My next tip would be to find leverage. When performing a bend, if you are bending the string up, you want to kind of get your finger under the string so that you have leverage to push it up, and vice versa for if you're pulling it down. This will put a lot less strain and reliance on the muscle in your finger and should give you more control as well. In addition to this, use your spare fingers to the left of the fretting finger to also aid in the bend. Again, this will relieve the strain a little bit and give you more control. I think those would be my main tips when it comes to the technique. In the end, you just have to find a way that works for you, that's relatively comfortable, but most importantly, controlled. After that, it's about practicing for accuracy. I don't have a particular exercise as such, since that's not how I personally worked on my bends, but what I would do is whenever I come across a lick that contains a bend, I would play it first without the bend, fretting the notes so that I can hear the note that I'm aiming for. So, for instance, if you were learning this lick from the Hotel California solo, before getting to that point, I would play it by fretting each note like this. Then maybe break it down to each individual bend and match each note that should be bent up to. Finally, put it all together, get it in time and up to speed. I guess if you wanted to, you could use this method and easily turn it into like an exercise, just picking a note and practicing bending it a half step and then a whole step and so on. But it's just nice if you can practice it in a way that sounds musical, which is the case if you use licks like I just showed you. I think that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, please hit that like button. And if you have any queries, comments, questions, suggestions, or requests, feel free to leave them down in the comment section. And if this is the first of my videos that you've watched, thank you very much for watching and welcome to my channel. I make videos like these as well as covers, performances, and gear demos every week because I think that music is such an amazing thing that has an extraordinary ability to move people, and I want to help give you the tools to create some of that good stuff yourself. If that sounds like something for you, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to keep up to date.